Alright, so I have the 3 Hyperkin Xbox controllers right here. But I'll give you some of the demonstrations here. So this is the first one. Yeah, it's got a little scuff and whatever on the screen right here. Yeah, it's a screen, believe it or not. This was like the first Hyperkin controller for the Xbox One when it first became a thing, because they were celebrating the backwards compatibility for the original Xbox systems. So what I did to make a Duke controller, there's also a black variant version of this thing, but I don't have that. I only have the clear green one. Probably because this is the one I grew up with, because I had the Master Chief one and whatever. So I thought it was cool. Next one right here is the Anniversary controller. So this is basically the same thing, basically. But here's the thing about both of these. Both of these have screens in them. So when you plug in the controller and it turns on, they play like this Xbox logo on this one. This one has like the 20th anniversary one. So that's kind of like the big difference. Also, this one I have is the most expensive one. The only difference is they added in the share button this time. Identical too. But that's the thing. The Duke controller was actually the first one out of the whole system to be a thing. Yeah, this is like a ginormous controller. I mean, look at this. It's ginormous, like big as my hand. So to address the complaints, they made like this small controller, which is actually pretty cool. Look at this. It also has a share button right here, which is also wired. And look at this. Right here and like here, they have like these little prongs or whatever to put like memory cards in there and probably like a headset or something. So this one just came out, so this is pretty cool. I mean, look at this thing. It looks exactly as if you're playing the original Xbox. This just has like a little on thing, and this one is no longer a screen. You just push this picture right here. I mean, I don't see the point of having a screen anyways, but it's still cool to see this right here. But before this came out, there was also an Xbox 360 controller that they made. I don't see the point of it unless you want to play on PC, because all these are compatible to PC. And they all are wired. I know that's a big complaint, but that was how the original Xbox was. It was always wired. Now, there are some third-party alternatives that actually does support wireless one. I actually had one, but all of a sudden in the recent years it no longer works in terms of like buttons or whatever, and the part of the B button was coming off or whatever, so that was kind of dumb. But the Xbox 360 version of these things are basically wired. Now, before anyone makes an argument about this, I mean, let me show you guys something, right? So you see this little prong right here? That gives you the option if you want to play it wired. I actually had a cable. I just don't know where it's at. I might have lost it somewhere. And I have seen it in person, by the way. But I should mention this, that all of these controllers play pretty well. Seriously. Look at this thing. It looks just like as if it came out on the system. The only difference is they added bumpers this time. See, there's bumpers up here. Yeah, they also added here, right here, you know. I mean, this is such a weird placement for the bumpers. Like, you'd think it'd be right here, but it's like, you always press here, because it was always here. Start, select, white, and black buttons. And then they later replaced them with bumpers when the Xbox 360 came out. I always thought that was pretty funny, but still. But this was like the first one they grew up with. This controller in general, not the other way around it, because I actually got the original Xbox when it first, well, in the first couple of years, to be specific. I think it was like the second, it may have been the second or third year when the thing came out. But overall, yeah, you have to force to put like a wire thing in there. So it's like, they come with a cable that you put in there, and you just put it in like this. Let me try. I'm always terrible with these things. Okay, so you do that, plug it in, little light comes on, you're all set. Say this is like more of a thing if you want to play in the original Xbox way, because all these buttons are white and black, which translates to these two. But it just makes it easier to just do this. But controller wise, yeah, it's like 50 or 60 bucks for these things. But this one's, I think it was almost $100 if I remember correctly, because they were celebrating the anniversary for this thing. I mean, it makes sense because it was 20th anniversary, and they put out these new backwards compatible titles for the system, which I actually thought was a nice way to celebrate it. More original Xbox games to come out on the system. But like I said, anything that relates to Xbox One or Xbox Series systems and PC in general, you can basically play these things. But yeah, these are pretty authentic, and all these are pretty much licensed by Microsoft themselves. So this is an official Xbox product. Like I said, there is an Xbox 360 controller. I just don't have that one. I think the ones they have is white and black. I always seen the white ones to be truthful or whatever. But yeah, all of these play pretty well. I never really have any problems. The only thing is they have to make sure they're clean or whatever, because the screen could go all a little dusty and they wear off or whatever. But the screen's not the focus point here. But yeah, the button, this is like you push the screen because that's the home button. And that's basically it. Look at this. This whole thing is my gigantic hand. If there was a kid, it wouldn't even use this thing. So that's why it's a small thing invented, which I still think kind of should have been in the first place. But I think the big issue is because the Xbox logo on this thing was huge. Like, seriously, if you have the original one, you know what I'll be talking about. But these are like the most awkward button placements I've seen. But I'm glad this one pretty much like fixed all the problems with the button placements and whatever. But you know, they just had to do something to get around with it. So overall, I say these controllers are pretty well. I never really had any problems with these things. Hyperkin did a pretty good job recreating these things. So I hope at some point, if it's going to be worse than on PlayStation, they should recreate the PS1, PS2 controllers. Just, you know, just to be funny, because think about it. PS1 and PS2 games are now on PS4 and PS5, so it would make more sense if they do the same route, you know? You know, you could say Nintendo, but Nintendo's already doing it themselves, which is pretty fun. So yeah, it's not a bad controller, and for anyone that wants to be more old school-y, this is for you. I also just noticed something. The ports for both this and this are completely different. I think the same goes with the original small controller. Yeah, all these are completely different, but still, if you guys want to play exactly as intended, then definitely get it. Yeah, it might be a little bit on the expensive side of money, but what do you expect? That's how much these controllers can usually be about. So, Hyperkin controllers, they're definitely for you when it comes to these original Xbox controllers. Seriously, it feels like I'm playing like if I was back then. I still do this very day, so yeah. Like the joysticks kind of feel new for this smaller one, but that's just because they just came out with a box as of yesterday. But overall, pretty good controllers.